Welcome everyone to the Manage Tool Data Like a Pro with ESPRIT and Zoller webinar. My name is Dan Perry. I'm the Eastern Applications Manager for DP Technology. And today's presentation is actually going to be broken up into three different parts. So first, we're going to have Cedric Hasenfratz, the National Sales Manager for Zoller. And following him, Dean Smith, who's a product specialist for Zoller, will be presenting. And then finally, we'll have Cash Bud Felix, who is a sales engineer for DP Technology. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and change the presenter to Cedric, and we'll get started.
All right, thank you, Dan. Welcome to our webinar today. We're going to quickly cover the ESPRIT and Zoller partnership and also give you a quick overview on the new features of the TMS 1.18 and of course the newest releases that we have now with ESPRIT in today's version. So quick for the Zoller as an official partner and sponsor of ESPRIT in the World Conference since 2011. From then on, we really always update every interface that the ESPRIT releases to stay up to date. And our main goal is to really have a tooling database that's standardized with digital twins of the real tool, which are on the shop floor. I'll explain a bit more about the digital twins in a few moments, just to kind of understand what the actual goal is and how this has to look in a digital world. And for today, our goal is from our Zoller end up to the ESPRIT end is to really understand the benefits of an external tool library. And of course, seeing the latest advancement to manage the Zoller tool library with a live connection to ESPRIT. Most important, the functionality that allows better integrity of the tooling data and faster data verification in ESPRIT, which we will kind of show also with the simulation part of it, where the tool comes into life within the ESPRIT that we created in Zoller. As a first step, I'm going to just show you quick the tools on how we create them. I'm not going to make one from scratch. I'm going to come right with this face mill right here, just giving you a quick overview on how this looks within Zoller and how it will transfer later that Dean will show you into ESPRIT. And more important, how can we transfer now the tool with the graphics, with the technology data over to ESPRIT, so you don't have to recreate all your speeds and feeds and tech data that you want to have within ESPRIT transferred. And of course, most important, also the possibility to actually, after simulation in ESPRIT, to bring back and export a setup sheet back into Zoller from ESPRIT. Here, quick general interface specification on what's important, what you can actually transfer back and forth is the article characteristics, which I'm going to explain in just a moment and what we understand with all of that information. STL files for holder graphics are used, also setup sheet from ESPRIT back to Zoller that can be transferred. And last but not least, the most important thing, what can we actually transfer, what type of tools, which you can see right here is drilling, milling, and turning tools that can be used full on the ESPRIT side of things. Let's head over to the live demos. I'm going to jump over now to my actual interface of Zoller TMS 1.18. For some that use Zoller, might be a little more exciting here on how it actually looks, the whole interface. So taking a look here, immediately you see a new different design of the interface. I just picked exactly that face mill that we have right here to kind of complete that story and showing you right after on how we can transfer that over to ESPRIT. Before we get started though, what's important here is our new widgets within the interface. I created basically sim components level. I created the tool managed module where we have the assemble tool, a quick setup sheet, and then the setup sheet that goes in the actual machine. You can always add any other module here just by hitting the plus sign, and we'll bring you back to the screen. Whatever you need from a Zoller module, you can just add that onto it. So let's say you have the ordering model or the, let's say, test device modules for gauge management or test devices. You can certainly just confirm here with the F1 button and add that to it. But for now, today, we're going to focus on the engineering package, bronze package with the ESPRIT interface. So really just need the single component level, the actual tool where we transfer the tools, and a setup sheet, and possibly define it by a machine. I did add the history, so when we go through the demo, I see exactly on my last action what date and what user has done the change. Obviously, that will be me today. So I can exactly see after the demo today on what I did, and if there's questions later on, I can follow the process and see exactly what I showed you, and if I maybe missed anything in today's webinar. I also added the to-do list. We did the intro, so all I do is now hit the button right here to cross it off, and I'm now heading over to the new tool data prep that I'm going to do right now. This is just to show you for the shop floor that they can add a to-do list on what they're achieving in today's workday for the shop floor. So here's my face mill that you saw also in my presentation. It contains all the different components that I need with the inserts right here on top, the face mill itself, the arbor holder, and the pull stop that belongs to it. You get immediately a nice graphic right here. Where I pulled the information from is basically that plus sign right here. That brings me right back to the complete library of all my tools. And I defined those tools here with the robo drill that I kind of really defined in specific. And those are all the tools that I use for this specific machine. Then all the inserts, you can see here's my quantity of 7. If I need to have more information about that specific insert, I can just hit the bill of material. You see that I button right here, click on it, and immediately I'm going to see here on what this all contains. Here are the inserts, purchase part, the vendor, the weight, the grade it's being used, and so forth. And most important here also is the article characteristics, which is of course important because this is where you want to really put in all your data from A to C. Right here, the cutting edge, the corner radius, design, the thickness, and so forth. At that moment, I don't need it. I'm going to focus on the tool because this is exactly what we would like to transfer. So going over to article characteristics, here's my ESPRIT overview immediately to be visualized. So right here, I have all the information about what I need and want to have transferred to ESPRIT. As you can see, the F3 button, which will Dean actually activate in his part of the demo, is transferring all that data now over to ESPRIT with the technology data. The technology data is found in here. So here is everything about feeds and speeds. So here we can cut different material like Delrin, the plastic, aluminum, and everything is right here mentioned and will be transferred over to ESPRIT. Quick on the article characteristics. It's all based out of the ISO 13399. And for the ones who are not familiar with it, it's basically a standardized format in creating for you a specific database on what exactly you want to transfer to your ESPRIT. And ESPRIT needs that information and all the other CAM systems that you might have for sure. Only that way we can transfer all the data that is needed. So again, this is a standard description of your tool geometries. Last but not least here, we are going to just double check quick on all the tools that we have. So when I go check here, I'm going to go back to my manage tool. I want to quickly make a setup sheet. That's my third step. As you can see, I work my ways from left to right. So right here, I have a setup sheet. I can create a new one with F10, and I can simply call this now ESPRIT Zoller demo. And what our next step is now, I want to add the tool data. I can add the machine too, like I've done in robo drill on where we're going to actually use for this demo. I'm going to just leave this data out for now, just for the demo purposes and save some time. Go to the tool data. And right in my tool data, it goes the same way. I can hit that plus sign and add all my tools. So right from here, I have my T1. I can simply add that. It will attach the graphics and everything that I need of that specific tool. Confirm that, go to the next one, go to T2, go to the next one, and go ahead and do that for every single tool, attach it to my actual setup sheet. I'm not going to do every single one of them. We'll have Dean actually show the actual setup sheet being transferred back and forth between Zoller, and ESPRIT. For the ones who use Zoller, this screen probably looks familiar to you with all the measurements that we took from our presetter, including the technology data right here. So with that, we basically could now go right back to that machine and attach those tools in that setup sheet right to that Fennec robot drill. And right from here, we do the same thing. We hit the plus sign and attach a specific setup sheet that belongs to it, with a drawing attached and so forth. So now I'm done with my part. I would like to actually really show you the actual part of it with ESPRIT on how easy it is to transfer all our data now and tooling over to your CAM system. So I check this off now in the to-do list and head over to Dean, make him the presenter, and give you a bit more insights about the interface.
Yeah, as I've mentioned, so hello guys, also from my side, my name is Dean. And yeah, as Cedric has mentioned earlier, I'm here in my Manage Tools module, so you can see all the single components and all the necessary values to transfer the tool into our ESPRIT program. Additional to this, we have the article characteristics on this in this side here. So as you have mentioned, Cedric as well, you can see the ESPRIT article characteristics in here. So how can we build this tool? It's very easy. We can do it manually by hitting this button and yeah, choosing the tool type we decide we need. And or we have the possibility to grab the information directly from single components. So for example, I want to point out these 6 tools in here. So you can see I have the T1 to the T6. Everything is prepared except the T6 tool. So let me jump into this, and I will show you the workflow how it should be, or how it works when we have to fill in these information. So you can see now here is no information in the T6, and we don't have the information of the technology data in here. As you have mentioned, Cedric, as well in the beginning, we are able to pull the information from the single component. So I will show you this quickly again. If you go to your single component, open the notepad here, you will see that we also have this information in here on this single component. So we have the article characteristics bar and the technology data. So now this is, we have the information of the ISO 13399. So of course we have to fill out this information in here. Or if you have a tool manufacturer, he maybe offer you this information with the download file. So you have the values filled out. After you have prepared this tool, you are able to jump back to your tool level and simply, very easy, hitting the F4 button. You will see another window will pop up. You can see now the information that gets transferred. So if I want to transfer the technology data, I have to accept it. And of course, I want to have the article characteristics data in this case. So after hitting the OK button, you will see that the information now is filled in here from the single component. And of course, we have the technology data assigned to this tool. So for this, I'm set for transferring the tool over to ESPRIT. Don't forget to save the tool, of course. And then you will see, let me jump over to ESPRIT now. I have prepared a very simple job in here, just with some operations like facing and contouring and drilling. And you can see here up in the ribbon, I have included 2 buttons. It's the import button, the interface import button, and the export button to create a setup sheet. So now you can see in the tool list, we don't have any tools in here, just the dummy tool. And I want to transfer over the tools from TMS into ESPRIT, into my ESPRIT job. So now I'm just I have to hit the import button. Another window will pop up. So this is our interface now. And it's very simple. We have 5 different tabs in here. So let me go first to the settings. So we have the settings here for general settings of our interface. Not very exciting, but yet you have to set these things here. Then we have a watch list. Just imagine something like a shopping cart. So you can pre-select your tools in here before transferring them over into the tool manager. Then of course we have the tools tab. So we have all our tools here, the same as we have in TMS, because we're working on one single source database in this case. Then we have, in addition to this, the setup sheet. So we can see all the setup sheets created in TMS. with the assigned tools to the setup sheet. So if we have a very similar part to programming in ESPRIT, we could, for example, choose one of the setup sheets and directly transfer over these included tools. And we have finally the machine tool tab. So I have prepared 3 machines in here. And as you can see, we have the Fanic robot drill, and we have 6 comparable tools to this machine. So to this adapter included in the machine. Then we see the Akuma, for example, with 2 compatible tools to it. So you can see it, or you can see this like as a filter. So if I press the F2 button, you will see a filter is active in here, and you directly jump into the Tools tab to see your assigned tools to this machine, to this adapter. So, for example, the T1, you can, before you transfer them over into the database, you are able to have a quick view over the tools, so you can see all the information again, as you could see them in TMS. So we have all the single components in here. We have the article characteristics bar again in here. We have the technology data, and we have, in addition to this, a 3D viewer to check the geometry and the graphic of the tool. Just keep in mind, this is only a view mode. So if you want to modify something in here, you have to do it in TMS and jump back to the interface. So close and reopen it again. Yeah, okay, just let me go back here. So I'm going to import these 6 tools by just with a multiple click. Then pressing the F11 button will transfer them over. You can see them here on the left side. After pressing the F11 button, now the tools get transferred. Then you get a successful message, and then everything is fine. So now you can close this window, the interface, and have a look into your tools. For example, you see all the values in here. So we created a digital twin of this tool, for example. And of course, we can see the whole information in here. Okay. Oh. So now, we just have to, just not to run out of time, I'm going to assign a tool to the facing operation, for example, the face mill, this makes sense, I think, in this case. After this, you will see that another window will show up. So now I'm able to decide which material I want to take for this tool. So I'm going to take, for example, the aluminium, hit the OK button, and then you see the values change in this case. Hit the OK button. So I think you guys are mostly familiar with this. And just quickly show you the graphic in the simulation for this. As you can see, oops, again. Yeah, okay. There you go. A bit quick, sorry for that. And as you can see, we have the tool. We have the tool in here, and we can, directly simulate and manufacture this part of the. So when you're happy with this, and you can then finally create a setup sheet with the other button. So if you hit the export sheet button, then you will see another window will show up, and this is our export interface. So it's very simple. You can give this a name, or you can directly hit the button, so you get a description for this. Then you see the time. You can put in the programmer, for example. You see a snapshot of your ISO graphic here of the current job, and of course, yes, you can assign a machine to this setup sheet. Some of you maybe have recognized that I only see one of the tools because I have only programmed the face mill with this operation, and then he will only show me this tool as well. So after hitting the OK button, it's going to be created in our database. So finally, I'm going to jump back to the TMS, go to the setup sheet module, and now you see that the setup sheet is created. There it is. SH. So if I can show you, you see then the machine, all the information that I've typed in, the tool data, so my face mill in this case, finally, you can print it out. So then you can hand it out to, for example, to the shop floor or to the tool grip, and they can prepare your tools for the job. So that's very beneficial to work on one database. So we are always, at the actual information. Yeah, that was my part. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and yeah, I would like to hand over to Cash now from DP Technology.
Hello. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So we're going to get into automation with expressions. All right, so I'm your presenter, Cash Bud Felix. Put a face to a voice for you really fast. All right, let's get into our topics. All right, so expressions, they are a super helpful way to automate sections of your ESPRIT file. So firstly, we're going to start with a simple facing operation. We'll briefly go over the ins and outs of what we're tackling here. We're going to then build and apply our first expressions. Then we're going to get into drilling. So we'll then ramp up a bit, cruising into functions within our expressions. So guys, the name of the game today is to make ESPRIT do the heavy lifting for you. All right, let's get going. All right, so I just want to run a full simulation of our part, take a look at what we're up against here. So all I really want to do is face and drill. Not a big deal, right? So here we go, face down. Just hog this material off really quick and we'll get into the drilling portion. All right, so now we're running our 1/8 inch drill, bunch of holes, and then we'll switch over to our quarter. A lot of holes, let's get going. All right, so as mentioned earlier, we're going to start with a simple facing op. We're going to automate both the start and end extensions of this operation. So let's get into it. So let's first look at the operation itself. So the tool, it rapids to just above the stock OD and then begins feeding toward the center line of the part. Okay, so let's see this from an isometric view now. All right, looks good. So let's go ahead, let's start from scratch here. Let's delete out the operation. And let's go ahead and let's take a look at the feature itself. So this feature was derived directly from the CAD model, and this is exactly what I want, definitely what I want. No guesswork here, so again, let's redo all of the heavy lifting, right? All right, so let's go ahead and let's add our operation, contouring op, and let's make sure we have all the fields cleared out and ready to go. All right, so let's go ahead, let's add a facing op, let's add a tool op, or not a tool op, but a tool. Let's make sure our strategy is set to face. Yep, okay, press OK. There's our path. So let's go ahead and let's see what happens. Oh, all right, so the tool rapids directly to the start point of the feature and then begins feeding toward the end point of that feature. So again, the model-derived feature does not include the stock OD here. So there are a few ways we can solve this. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and do a little guess and check, a classic guess and check. I threw a 3-inch in there. Let's see what happens. All right, so we're feeding in from what looks to be Timbuktu, and it's not done. All right, so end extension. Again, we're on that guess and check train. So just throwing in a 1-inch value. Feeding in from way out and going past center line. All right, so that's okay, I guess. About a D plus maybe. What we could do here is we could make ESPRIT do the heavy lifting. So let's clear these out, go to edit properties, and let's get into expressions. So what we want to do is we want to click on the expression builder. So everything we really need here is packed into these folders, organized into these folders. We've got tons of constants, functions, tons of info organized in these folders here. We'll be living out of the ESPRIT object folder. We'll be living out of the ESPRIT VB modules folder today. And so really what we want to do is we want here our stock radius value minus our feature start point plus some constant, right? So again, we are just adding a start extension to the beginning of our feature. All right, so stock information is in the lathe machine setup. If I double click on bar diameter, the ESPRIT drops this code in for you. So we all know I want the radius, so I'm going to take that diameter over 2, and now I'm going to add a little bit more information. So I'm going to add the tool nose radius. Find it here. Now let's pause for 1 second. Now you can see on the left there's tool 1, tool 2, tool 3, right? So these would come into play like if I was doing a pocketing operation. T1 would be my rougher, T2 will be my wall finish, T3 could be my floor finish, or if I was doing like a pinch turn op, T1 would be lead, T2 would be trail, or either way, we're doing a contouring operation, so tool 1 is really all we need here. So let's keep on cruising. So double click there, you can see it drops that information in for us. So I want to add a little bit more clearance, a little bit more cushion. I want to use an awesome little inch metric utility. So I do want to use this process file or this operation in either inch or metric files if I wanted to. So I want to go ahead and add an inch or metric constant. So 25 thou an inch, 0.5 millimeter for metric. Not quite done yet. So I do need to subtract off my feature start point, right? So my feature start point in the Y on this feature. So now we are going to feed in at just above the stock OD. So we're going to wrap it to just above the stock OD and then feed down to that feature start point. Hit our debug expression, and there you have it. Some crazy result, 1.4519527748243, either way. Press OK. It drops that value in for you. Let's go ahead and apply it. And let's go ahead and let's see what this looks like. So we should wrap it to just above our OD, stock OD, and feed into the feature start point. So that's exactly what we're thinking here. So we're not out of the weeds quite yet. Again, we're going to let ESPRIT do the heavy lifting for us. So let's go ahead and let's add our end extension. Same deal. We're going to utilize our expression builder. And I'm going to keep it easy on us, guys. Really all we need here is from the end extension to the center line of the part. So KVM utilities, and I'm going to go to get feature endpoint. So this is the difference between my endpoint and the center line of my part. Now I could go ahead and I could make this as dynamic or as simple as I want. What we're going to do here is just something simple, something easy to grasp. So get feature endpoint Y of the feature. And of course, we're always going to debug our expression. 1/2 inch, a little over 1/2 inch. I'm okay with that. Press OK, and let's take a look, make sure everything makes sense. Let's run it. So wrap it to just above the stock OD. And there we go. A super simple, but super powerful and dynamic expression. Let's do one more thing. Let's put this thing to the test. So my bar diameter is 3.95. Let's go ahead and bump that to a crazy value of say 10 inches. And let's rebuild my operation and see if that start extension jumps. Awesome. Exactly. So again, it's super dynamic, super duper useful. I don't want to think, let's make ESPRIT do the heavy lifting. And since I'm in love with this thing, I'm going to go ahead and save this process file because I do want to use it again as mentioned. So I'm going to name it face. We're going to head and prove this out. So delete it out, no operations, go back to my feature. Let's go up to solid turn, and then we're going to throw this contouring off, clear everything out, and then we're going to open that face process file right back up. We're going to apply it, and then boom, there you have it. All right, I know that was a ton. Let's keep on going. Let's keep rolling. So, all right, folks, all I want to do here now is I want to drill out these 81 holes in just a few clicks, all right? No big deal. All right, so actually, I really just want ESPRIT to assign tools for me. We have a lot of holes, and let's make ESPRIT do the heavy lifting for us, right? So we'll get into functions and how these are laid out, and then we'll shift gears a little bit and add a conditional statement using that same function. All right, so let's rock. All right, so I'm going to start just straight up from scratch here. No features at all. I'm going to use ESPRIT's awesome hole recognition hot button. We're going to select the faces that we want to evaluate. We're going to click OK, and then all 80-some holes are featured and ready to go. It really is a beautifully simple button. All the work planes, every hole has a feature. We're ready to rock. So let's take a look at this countersink. We've got depth, chamfer diameter, chamfer angle, everything. All the information is loaded starting from the top. And again, guys, every single one of these holes is featured. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a process file that holds my function. I called it drill some stuff. Very silly of me, I know. But either way, we can see it has our 1/8" drill, and it has a total depth. All right, so I'm going to show you something. This comes factory from ESPRIT. Cutting depth, evaluating tool 1 and features. So this is a function already on the operation from ESPRIT. I didn't make that, but what I did do is get drill tool, and we are going to learn together how to make this thing happen. So as always, we're going to clear it out, and we're going to start fresh. Go down to our KB and utilities, and we are going to select get drill tool. All right, so I know it seems like there's a lot going on here now, but we can make it pretty simple. I mean, it really is simple. A function is really just evaluating a list of variables. So lower tool diameter, upper tool diameter, S filter. I do like this as a string filter. We're going to search for specifically a drill. So I'm going to clear out some of these variables really quick. And so I want my upper limit, my upper drill size limit to be the actual diameter of the hole. So that makes a lot of sense. I'll set my lower limit to 0. I want to change my optional string filter to hunt for drill. So DR %, meaning some stuff. And then I'm just going to use the optional values here. So 0, 0, -1. I don't really care. For this, I do want to hunt in a specific tool group. So TG1. So get drill tool lower, upper, drill, optional, optional, and then tool group 1. As always, expression builder, boom. There is the result. Press OK. Now my awesome little 1/8" hole. Let's watch it run. Hey, now that is fancy. All right, so not impressed yet. Let's add it to all of these holes on the conical section. So I'm going to highlight all of my features, open up that exact same process, and note I do have 1/8" holes and 1/4" holes, and ESPRIT automatically knows exactly what tool to use because our awesome get drill tool function. Again, exactly what we just made a second ago, just showing you this is the exact same thing. And there we are, our operations page, all of our 1/8" holes. All of our 1/4" holes. No man left behind here. All right, so we're not out of the weeds yet. I still have my countersink hole. So again, we're going to step it up just a little bit. So I'm going to use a conditional statement here. I want to know if I have a chamfer before I go ahead and look for a chamfer tool or a spot drill. So here we have it. So you see, if chamfer diameter is greater than something, comma 0. So let me talk this out one more time. So if this statement is true, chamfer diameter is yes, I want you to get drill tool. So the same thing we just had, chamfer with respect to chamfer diameter and SD spot drill. If this is not true, I want you to result in a 0, and I'll show you that. So result in a 0. So again, I'll go over this one more time. This condition is true, find this stuff. If it is false, result in a 0. So again, conditional statement. All right, there, found me a spot drill, 1-inch spot drill, press OK. Let's take a look, quick buzz into our part. And there you have it. Super simple, but super awesome. Let's go ahead and copy paste, throw some stuff down here because we know that thing works. And then I want to do one extra little awesome thing here. So what would be really great is if I could highlight all of these features and apply if there is a chamfer, and if there is a drill, go ahead and drill after the chamfer. If there's no opportunity to do chamfer or a spot drill, just go ahead and drill, right? So let's go ahead, let's select both of these process files. Let's save them out, and let's just call it, I don't know, spot, then drill. Save it out. And now I'm gonna go ahead and clear all these operations off. Jump back to my features tab. And like I said, I'm gonna highlight every single one of these holes, including my axial hole with the countersink. I'm gonna apply my new process file, and I expect it to do everything in just a few simple clicks. And there it is. Every single one of those holes with a properly selected tool. Operation page, so spot drill first, runs through all my 1/8 inch, goes down to my 1/4 inch, and then finally a little over a 1/2 inch on my axial hole. And then ESPRIT packages it nicely in a nice feature folder. I'm going to go ahead, I'm expand it, and we will, just for a final display, we will run our operations at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So let's go. We are running thin on time. 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch. There you have it, folks. All right, so in summary, so what, why, how? So essentially, you just run background math within your operations based on your features. The why, because we want ESPRIT to do the heavy lifting. But really, we just want to cut down on programming time by making ESPRIT apply your rules, right? So how? Well, one way, we already know this, use the ESPRIT expression builder. It's an easy and awesome tool for writing your rules. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thanks, Cash. So we'll go through, there were a few questions that we'll go through for the Q&A. And I would also encourage you to go ahead and ask some questions now if you have some on any of the material. You can go ahead and use the GoToWebinar utility. There's a questions dialog in there. Feel free to type those in, and we'll answer them after we're done answering the other ones, because there's only a few here. And I also want to mention that the expressions Cash used are, you could view them again afterwards when the webinar is posted on our site. So it's ESPRITCAM.com/webinars. So if you wanted to get those expressions, you could just view the webinar after it's posted on our site. So with that, we'll jump into a few of the questions that transpired throughout the session. And I think one of the first questions for Zoller was whether or not the add-in is available in all versions of ESPRIT or only the 2000 series. So Cedric, would you be able to answer that?
Sure, yeah. So every new version, Zoller will take the challenge and of course update the version. So yes, 2000 series, we are all set. We are working right now also for the TNG version that we also will be supporting very soon. So every time ESPRIT does do a new release, we will make sure that we keep them up to date after a few weeks it has been released from the ESPRIT side of things.
Okay, perfect. So there was a question that doesn't really relate to expressions, but since there aren't a lot of expression specific questions, I'll go ahead and just throw it out there for general information. Somebody was asking how Cash got the shiny appearance on his part, and there is a way to do that in the version that Cash was using. If you go under Tools, Lighting, they'll open up a shading properties dialog, and then there's several parameters you can adjust there that will have an effect on your the way that your solid models look. So let's see, someone else was asking for Zoller, what is the format of the setup sheet and can they be edited outside of ESPRIT and Zoller?
Yes, they can. So the general format that you saw is basically puts out a PDF, but you can use any format that suits you. You can change it. You have the full edit rights to customize your setup sheet that Zoller can help you to create. So if you rather have just 5 tools on one page without any drawings, you can certainly do so. If you do like to have drawings on there in like a location, that can be added anytime you want. So yeah, the answer is yes, you can customize that and can use any type of format that suits your shop.
Okay. So someone was asking what version of the software we were using. That was ESPRIT 2020. And let's see, as far as the Zoller questions, a couple questions about the version. Here's another Zoller question. Does each computer need a license for Zoller or can it be shared over a network license?
Okay, so for the first question, this was the shown version of Bronze called the engineering package where we integrate with the CAM system like ESPRIT. That's what we showed today. And the second question here is, hold on, which one did you take? Just looking at the questions here too, Dan.
This one was by John. He was just asking if each license or
Oh yes, yeah.
each computer needs
Yes.
its own license.
They do not. It's a floating license. It works. I assume it works the same way with ESPRIT. So it's a floating license, so you can install it as many computers that you want. It works the same way. Just one at the time uses it and has to log off, log back in if somebody wants to use the same license.
Okay. So Mike was asking, Cash, this one would be for you. He was asking if TG1 was your tool group. I assume it was, but I'll let you clarify in that last expression that you were showing what TG1
Yeah.
is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so TG1, just tool group 1. We could have pinged, say, Mills Tools Inch, which is the standard tool group within ESPRIT Cutting Tool Manager. Just wanted to kind of show that this is very customizable and adaptable to your situation. So that's why I used my own.
Okay. Let's see. William he mentioned that the interface looked a little different from what he's used to. Is that a new interface and is it available?
Yes, it's immediately available. It is new. What Zoller does, as you maybe saw 2 weeks ago, we started with the CAM interfaces saying about the standardized versions. So we're trying to do each CAM system the same exact way with the import and export button, making it look exact the same. So in case a customer has multiple CAM systems, everything looks the same within his Zoller environment and the same for his CAM environment that he has. So yes, it's new, but it's fully functional and available as of the last few months, I think.
Okay. So I think we, excuse me, I think we got all the most of the questions here, and if we didn't get to you, we will follow up with you individually after the session. but I do believe we got most of them. I didn't see a lot of questions regarding expressions, and that's kind of to be expected. It's something that we've been trying to work into more of our webinars because we do have a lot of interest on it. And we're already talking about doing a more in-depth webinar about expressions. I see somebody was asking to see some more of that. So it is a really powerful function inside of ESPRIT, maybe underutilized at times just because it's intimidating to people. But hopefully what we were trying to show you today is that really DP Technology has done a lot of work up front to make it so that it's easy for you to build these expressions. And using the expression builder, most of the information that you're going to need to build a typical expression is already there. You just need to find what you need and simply add your calculation. But it's also fully customizable as well. So if you need to get more in depth than what's available in the expression builder, that capability is certainly there. You can even expand into the API and make your own DB modules, which can be a little more in depth, but certainly the possibility is there. And it's a really powerful function. So it'll help you get consistency and optimize your operations and you know, let ESPRIT do the work for you. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the session. Don't forget to fill out the survey, and remember this session will be on our website, ESPRITCAM.com/webinars, so you can watch it later. All right, thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you at the next one.